Hello and welcome back to Grim Survival. This video will be posted on Wednesday the 21st. This is obviously going to be some bad news. This is a bad news video. I have plenty of clips to show you here in just a minute, but first I want to give another shout out to Homestead Oss, Wayne and Lynn. Thank you very much for this hat. This very much is a beautiful hat. Also like to thank those of you that have been donating to my can account. If you don't know, a lot of channels have a coffee account. Buy me a cup of coffee. I'd prefer, if anyone wants to donate, to buy me a can of food, because I would rather have cans of food than cups of coffee, just because I'd rather, not starve to death. Alright, so yeah, that's what it means if you see the can account below. And just, I don't really believe in shouting out people's names for donations. I think that's like a private type of thing. So yeah, I just want to say personal thank you. You know who you are. Alright, so coming up, Google is being sued. Google is the owner of YouTube. They are being sued for monopoly. We're going to see that in a minute. There's a new debate. Last presidential debate is going to be Thursday the 22nd at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 9 p.m. And this will be the last debate before the election. I find it to be rather pointless, but hey, we're going to talk about that also. And there are some new debate rules. They have changed the rules and are playing with the microphones now. So you're going to see that in just a minute. And one other thing on here is we're questioning Trump's religion. We really are. If you should follow a channel called Christina. If you go to my channel and scroll down to the bottom, you'll see it down there. It's one of the channels I follow. We were in a live stream with her talking about if Trump is really a Christian or not a few days ago. So guys, check out that channel also if you would. Alright, I'm going to shut up for just a minute and let's just get to it.
The first thing I want to just address is this morning the Department of Justice in 11 states filed an antitrust civil lawsuit against Google for unlawfully maintaining a monopoly in general search services and search advertising in violation of Section 2 of the Sherman Act. For years, there have been broad bipartisan concerns about business practices leading to massive concentrations of economic power in our modern online economy.
Working my way through this 64-page lawsuit that the Justice Department has filed against Google, and in which the department alleges that Google's anti-competitive behavior has been going on for years. It's still going on, and in fact, it might be getting worse. In the complaint, the Justice Department writes that Google has entered into exclusionary agreements, including tying arrangements, and engaged in anti-competitive conduct to lock up distribution channels and block rivals. The department says that Google has taken a page from Microsoft's playbook in order to sustain its monopolies, and even instructed employees not to use words like tie, crush, kill, bundle, or even market power in any public or private communication.
Today in San Francisco, a free speech rally came to an abrupt end. Tonight on ABC7, we hear from the organizer, now recovering from a punch that knocked out his teeth. Good evening and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Dion Lim. Some well-known conservative personalities were on the agenda to speak at that rally today, but organizers canceled the event minutes after it started. Police say several people participating in the rally were injured, as well as 3 officers when they were sprayed with pepper spray.
President Trump and the former Vice President Joe Biden will face off on Thursday in Nashville for one final debate. CBS 4's Nancy Chen continues our team coverage from Washington with details on a new rule put in place to help keep order.
After a combative first matchup, the Commission on Presidential Debates is making a change for this Thursday's event.
The radical left. Will you shut up, man?
At the start of each segment, both candidates can talk for 2 minutes while the other's microphone is shut off. For the remainder of the 15 minutes, neither will be muted.
Yeah, good morning, Trace. How are you? Well, in California, you can vote now in a Republican-sponsored ballot box. Turns out the state GOP put out its own boxes on the streets in some Republican areas. But state election officials said that was illegal. Well, now they have struck a compromise. The boxes are intended to help voters cast their ballots, but they are not official government-sponsored boxes. Last week, the state issued a cease and desist order against them. The California GOP, though, would not budge, insisting that they are legal under the state's controversial ballot harvesting law. Now they can stay.
Some Democrats are now calling for a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to try or assess Trump supporters after the election. Truth and Reconciliation Commission. This weekend, for example, former Obama advisor Robert Reich, who was the labor secretary under Bill Clinton, wrote that Truth and Reconciliation Commissions would, quote, name every official, politician, executive, and media mogul whose greed and cowardice enabled this catastrophe, end quote. Several MSNBC anchors have made the same suggestion. Chris Hayes, for example. In July, another MSNBC personality offered a preview of these commissions.
Let me take an example like the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in South Africa, because it's a good example because apartheid went on for a long time. But basically, people would come before that commission and admit there was a truth-telling. They would say, I did this. And that was the birth of the concept of reconciliation, because they were able to admit what they did wrong. Here in America, we have a different problem in that there are a whole bunch of people who say, I didn't cause this problem. Might have been my ancestors, or maybe I'm a recent immigrant. It's somebody else's fault. How do we convince people that it doesn't have to be their fault to be their responsibility to fix it?
Here we are looking at an article from MSN. This was posted on October 18th, according to this. It says 2 days ago. I'm recording it on the 20th. So yeah, on the 18th. Democratic President nominee Joe Biden facing criticism among Christians for his unequivocal endorsement of transgender identity and rights for young children. During his ABC News town hall in Philadelphia on Thursday night, Biden said there should be zero discrimination against children who are transgender. Yeah, I'll leave it right there. That's enough information out of this. The article is on MSN if you want to read more.
You're watching cell phone video recorded just minutes after the attack of this New York City art gallery owner by more than a dozen teens. It left him covered in bruises. You see right there, blood vessels broken in his eye. News 4's Ray Adam live near the scene of the beating and raid. He says this happened because of what he was wearing.
That's right, Stacey. He says it happened because he was wearing a Make America Great Again hat.
Oh, look. Trump supporter. Oh my God.
What's happening?
Oh my God.
What's happening? Are they beating up Trump?
Yeah, they're beating someone up.
Is it a Trump supporter they're beating up?
I don't know.
What's going on?
Oh my God.
A political brochure sent by a Democratic incumbent state senator attacks the religious beliefs of his Republican challenger.
It's a personal attack that is very hurtful.
The Norm Needleman brochure claims that Brendan Saunders is a radical anti-gay activist and that he opposes abortion in every circumstance, citing a 15-year-old Southern Baptist newsletter.
The point of the mailer was not to criticize in a negative way as much as to get both of us on the record for what we believe.
A practicing evangelical Christian, Saunders says the claims are not true. On abortion, he is pro-life with a caveat.
Democrats are highly hostile to organized religion, and a lot of them deeply resent Amy Coney Barrett for her Orthodox Catholicism. But they've decided not to say anything about it because it's an election year, so they're trying to keep it under wraps. It's a political calculation, obviously. But what do they really think? Well, privately, Democrats are fixated on Amy Coney Barrett's religious beliefs. We know that, in part because today, Dianne Feinstein, the senior senator from California, didn't realize her mic was on and let the mask slip. Here she is.
She's been pro-life for a long time. So I suspect with her it is deeply personal. And it comes with her religion.
It's deeply personal, and it comes with her religion, like it's a disease.
Well, two ancient nations are at war. Armenia and Azerbaijan are fighting over a small territory called Nagorno-Karabakh, populated mostly by Christians, George.
Azerbaijan claims the area, although most living there are Armenians, as Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem. While this is a small conflict now, it could get bigger.
In the midst of heavy artillery fire, thousands of refugees are fleeing, while others seek shelter inside the war zone.
Bombing. Buildings and houses are destroyed. We are so afraid of it. How can one stand it? How long will it last?
He's arguably one of the most vocally pro-Israel presidents in American history.
The Jewish state has never had a better friend in the White House than your president, Donald J. Trump.
He has moved the American embassy to Jerusalem, made the U.S. the first country to recognize Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, slashed funding for Palestinians, and brokered peace agreements with Arab states. It has won in points with Israelis, 63% of whom said in an I-24 News survey they want to see him re-elected. But it doesn't seem to be helping too much at the ballot box with Jewish voters in his own electorate.
A prominent rabbi ruling that Jewish law does not forbid members of the LGBTQ community from building a family. Rabbi Benny Lau's statement released this week on his Facebook page under the heading, "It is not good for a man to be alone." The guidelines published in Hebrew are an effort to build bridges in the Orthodox Jewish community with the LGBTQ identifiers.
Alright, this is just going to be a little bit of good news to add into all of the chaos. This was posted Tuesday, October 20th, 2020 out of CP. I'm not really sure what CP is. ChristianPost.com. That's what it is. Okay, Capitol Hill Baptist Church holds first outdoor service in D.C. after winning a lawsuit. Members of the Capitol Hill Baptist Church gathered in Washington, D.C. to hold their first outdoor service in the nation's capital since they successfully sued to do so. The Capitol Hill Baptist had filed a lawsuit against the district over COVID-19 shutdown and restrictions that prevented them from holding outdoor worship services. What happened to the separation of church and state?
1947. The Cold War heats up on Capitol Hill. The House Un-American Activities Committee opens hearings into alleged communist influence and infiltration within America's motion picture industry.
Welcome back, guys. That's some news, isn't it? That's some news. So the free speech rally that we seen in San Francisco where the guy got punched in the mouth, knocked out several of his teeth, and beat him up pretty badly. Free speech rally. Apparently, the opposite group were not in favor of free speech. They're in favor of their free speech and their right to protest, but they're not in favor of anyone else's free speech or anyone else's right to protest. The free speech rally was being held because of Twitter blocking certain news articles and certain posts in favor of whatever party they are in favor of. YouTube has been doing the same thing. Just me saying this on this channel could get me banned. It really could. It really could. But I don't care. I really don't. If I get banned, find me on Patreon. The link's in the description. Alright. Trump's religion. So a lot of people were saying that he converted to Judaism, which if he did so, he renounced Christ as his savior. I don't know. I don't know, and I don't judge anybody who wants to believe whatever they want to believe in. That was what one of the founding principles of our country, of the United States, was founded for: freedom of religion. That doesn't mean freedom of your particular religion. That means freedom of all religions. And if you follow the same religion that I follow, you should know that you don't have a right to judge anyone else's religion. And I'm sorry if that offends somebody, but if it does, suck it up, Buttercup. That's all I'm going to say. I have a right to offend people. I have a right, First Amendment rights gives me the right to free speech, as the people at that protest obviously didn't realize. So I have a right to say whatever I want. Now, YouTube doesn't believe I have that right. YouTube believes that they are a private organization. I should say Google, because Google owns YouTube. So Google believes that they are a private organization that doesn't have to abide by the First Amendment. And I will continue to say this until they probably will ban me. But, hey, that's that. Anyway... I'm editing canning videos tonight, so we'll hopefully have them online by Friday, maybe Thursday, hopefully Friday. I'm going to try my best to get online as soon as I can. Just to show you the jam, I do have I had a jar of it here earlier. I don't have it with me anymore, but yeah, it's good. It really is. We're popping it open and trying it out, because why not? Instead of eating crap that you buy from the store, make it yourself. Make it yourself out of fresh fruits and vegetables that you get from the store, if that's what your options are, but it's still going to be better than the processed sugars and everything they add to the stuff that they don't need to be adding in the first place. It's ridiculous. It really is. The food is just ridiculous. Economy. We're having economy issues. That's going to be a different video. I have several other videos planned. I'm actually trying to plan a camping trip, but the weather is crazy. I'm looking out the window. The weather has been crazy. It's been raining in my area for like 3 days. Temperatures are fluctuating from 40 to 60, and now we're talking about being in the 80s by the end of this week. So I believe it's going to be Thursday, the same day of the last debate. The temperature's supposed to go up. I guess they had to increase it for Biden, right? Yeah. Okay. That's going to be enough of my opinions. I just, you know... Okay, I'm going to give you another opinion. Christians are under attack. Organized religion itself is under attack. Even different religions besides Christianity is under attack. It's being attacked by governments. It's being attacked by states. They're removing people's freedoms left and right. They're forcing people to wear whatever they want them to wear, masks and whatever. They're forcing them to stop religious gatherings. That is an absolute violation of your constitutional right. I am glad that the church sued and won. I am glad that they sued and won over in DC. That is a good first step. But everyone needs to stop this. This is insane. They're saying coronavirus, and it's increasing and it's increasing. Two things. More than two things. One, scientifically, it's never been proven that a mask actually helps. It's actually proven that a mask does not help. Two, scientifically, it's been proven that wearing a mask decreases your oxygen, and permanent neurological damage is being caused by wearing masks for prolonged, just wearing it for too long. You know what I'm trying to say. I'll learn to speak English eventually. I really will, one of these days. Yeah, I'll just leave it there. You know what's going on. The United States isn't said to be here at the end times. If you believe in any of the prophecies, or if you've read the book of Revelation, one world government. If there's one world government, that means we don't have the United States anymore. So eventually this is going to collapse. And pretty much everyone agrees, science, economics, religion, we all agree that this thing's coming down. It's coming down hard eventually. They're just holding on by a thread right now. All right, one other channel I want to call out, and just an important piece of information, you should have Prepper Nation. If you haven't checked out Prepper Nation, definitely go do so. It's a very good channel. He has posted a document in his Patreon. It's free. You don't need to be, subscribed to his Patreon to get to the document. I forget what it's called right offhand. I do have it. I downloaded it to my computer. I have it on my computer and a couple other places that they cannot take it away at this point. I have it. I haven't read most of it yet. I have read some of it, and I have heard more about it than what I've actually read. This document is, well, from what I gather from people in support of Antifa. So yeah, there's that. So Prepper Nation, go check it out. Find his Patreon. His link for his Patreon's in all of his videos also. John over there, very good guy. A lot of good information. Definitely recommend the channel. All right, I'm really going to shut up now. This has been James with Grim Survival. I really do like this hat. I think it looks good on me. What do you think? I'm looking at myself in the camera there. Yeah, I think it looks good. I don't care what you think. I really don't. Sorry. I just don't, I tried to care what people thought once, but it didn't work out for me. All right, like I said, I'm going to shut up. This has been James with Grim Survival. Give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll see you next time.